up, we learned how umbilical cord blood can help treat blood-related illnesses as well as cancer. We get an update on the restoration work of the mountain forest destroyed by Taiwan's 921 tremor. Welcome to our headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. This year not only marks the 15th anniversary of TIMA, but also the 20th year of establishment of the Tzu Chi Stem Cell Center. Thus, to celebrate, an event was arranged in Hualien for bone marrow donors to meet their recipients. In the first of our reports, we see how a donor in Taiwan helped Emrith from South Africa with his donation. Traveling halfway around the world, bone marrow recipient Emrith from South Africa took a 36-hour journey to Taiwan to meet his donor and express his gratitude.
Well, one of the things I want to try and do is learn more about the foundation and maybe even become a volunteer and pull people and explain to them what's been done over here.
He's always positive, he's always encouraging people, motivating people to be positive and just live for today.
Not only has Emrith made a full recovery and became more positive, but his donor in Zhuzhou also won his then girlfriend's heart because of his act of love.
I think this is a special affinity. I didn't know that love could spread so far. I just felt it was the right thing to do.
He is always nice to everyone.
Highlights of Tzu Chi's 20 years of bone marrow donations are witnessed by over 500 medical professionals here in Hualien, who know that their love will continue to reach those in need. Besides bone marrow and peripheral blood stem cells, umbilical cord blood is one of the newer forms of treatment for patients suffering blood-related diseases. For this reason, the Tzu Chi Stem Cell Center set up a cord blood bank in 2002 and has since successfully helped many patients find a match. At birth, a newborn baby arrives in the world along with a precious gift, the blood from its umbilical cord.
Cord blood is the blood we collect from a newborn baby's umbilical cord and the placenta, because they have a large amount of hematopoietic stem cells. The placenta contains many newborn cells which have the ability to develop and grow. It would be a great pity to just throw it away.
Previously, cord blood was considered as waste until it was discovered in the 90s that the hematopoietic stem cells within can be used to treat blood-related diseases, as well as cancer and other congenital illnesses. Thus, in 2002, Tzu Chi Stem Cells Center also set up its own cord blood bank.
The main purpose for Tzu Chi to set up a cord blood bank is of course to save lives. Another reason is because it is also a form of recycling and reusing unwanted items.
The function of cord blood is the same as bone marrow and peripheral blood, in which the hematopoietic stem cells found within can be used in transplant surgeries. However, cord blood has proven to be much more effective.
Cord blood comes from the placenta, so the blood cells within are what we refer to as young or newborn blood cells. They are pure, uncontaminated, and don't have any antigens. The hematopoietic functions of the cord blood are much stronger than adults and lead to an easier match. We are able to quickly provide hematopoietic stem cells to patients.
Taking cord blood and peripheral blood into comparison, the hematopoietic stem cells found in cord blood offers greater potential in finding a successful match. Furthermore, patients do not have to worry that a donor may refuse to go through with their donation.
The goal of the cord blood bank was to store 12,000 cord blood samples, a goal which we reached at the end of 2008. Since then, we haven't taken in any donations, but we have continuously provided them to patients. To date, we have used nearly 80 cord blood samples and helped some 90 patients in need.
Nevertheless, the cost of storing cord blood is relatively high. In addition, Taiwan's national health insurance does not subsidize cord blood transplants, leading to a low usage rate. At the end of 2012, Tzu Chi partnered up with Taiwan Society of Blood and Marrow Transplants to provide 40 patients each year with free cord blood.
Every patient has access to 2 cord blood samples. We hope to help patients with their problems and also advocate the use of cord blood in transplants as a way to benefit future patients.
Though Tsuji's cord blood bank may be full at the moment, but the staff at the Tsuji Stem Cells Center will continue to promote cord blood transplants to benefit those in need. A part of what has made the Tsuji Stem Cell Center such a success in Taiwan and abroad has been the countless Tsuji volunteers that offer their time and efforts to encourage the general public to join the donor registry and thus be a potential lifesaver. These volunteers are also committed to accompany the donors or recipients throughout the entire donation process, ensuring that they are never alone and inspiring them to give back in their own way.
Most people think that it involves drawing from the spinal fluid. That is mistaken. What doctors want are the stem cells from your marrow and your ileum.
Although such words have been said many times before, it is a sentence that is worth repeating over and over, whether in public gatherings or in a one-to-one conversation.
Such a simple act can save a life and that person's family.
Although the message is right, it still takes time and persuasion for some to hear that message. In Chen Xuezi's case, she's often asked to visit the families of donors to alleviate their fears or misunderstandings.
One of the matches turned out to be my neighbor. Actually, several matches have been in my neighborhood. Brother Yu asked if I could check on the situation, as currently the match's family is opposed to the donation. I said okay since they live near me. I quickly went there so I could report the results to the stem cell center.
Often those that have gone through with the donation will share their experiences with others. Seeing the joy that shines from them, Chen Xuezi also feels a deep sense of accomplishment.
The donors are filled with Dharma joy, and I am just as happy for them. Sometimes I will get cards from the bone marrow recipients thanking us. There is nothing more motivational and inspirational than that.
Cards such as these express the deep gratitude of families. This, along with seeing patients making a complete recovery, make all the hard work worthwhile.
This was a unique case as it crossed international boundaries and the donor and recipient were not related. Despite this, it was a success.
The bone marrow recipient from Vietnam was in fact a doctor himself. Throughout the process, Dr. Lai He-shum was by his side, knowing that there were many waiting for him back in Vietnam.
He came to Taiwan as a patient seeking treatment, so in the future as he does his job, he will remember what exactly patients need.
From beginning to end, volunteers are there. Successfully carrying out a donation is a massive undertaking that needs the help of everyone.
The bone marrow donation process is not something that one person can handle. The master said that the grains of the earth cannot be eaten by one person. Just so, the affairs of the earth must be carried by all.
You need a team. It's not just about spending money. That is not enough. You need a team.
Although not healthcare professional, these behind-the-scene angels do their utmost to save lives by smoothing out the road to and from the actual donation day. In the process, inspire a sense of gratitude and reciprocity in many.
It is devastating having to fight cancer once in your life. However, Ms. Lee from Singapore was diagnosed twice in a few years' time, the first with bone cancer and the second time with leukemia. Luckily, a successful match was found in Taiwan, giving Lee yet another chance at life and also the opportunity to build a future together with her family.
I want to thank you. Because of you, my mom is around to take care of me each day.
The day of my bone marrow transplant surgery was April 28th. When the bone marrow was put inside my body, I said, "Thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for donating your bone marrow to me. I hope you can stay here permanently." Each day I wake up, I express my gratitude in this way.
It's hard to imagine Ms. Lee was diagnosed with leukemia just a few years after having a successful surgery to remove a tumor. Little did she know that she was to beat cancer twice. After waking up to spinal pain on a day in 2010, Lee thought her bone cancer had relapsed, but she was devastated to find that she was in fact suffering from leukemia. Her son also had to undergo heart surgery during her chemotherapy.
At that time, my son was only 6, so I was quite worried about him. I told myself I have to hang in there because I have to take care of my son, so I must complete my chemotherapy first.
Soon 2 matches were found in Singapore, however no follow-up came after that. Luckily, Lee was informed that another 3 matches were found in Taiwan.
Whether we found a match or not, I had to keep it together. I knew they had found a match here in Singapore, yet I was quite disappointed when nothing happened. But I knew that if they could not find anyone here, they would look abroad. We are Asians, so of course they will look for the same ethnicity. I am really grateful. A friend from a great distance helped me, so my son is really grateful as well. We express our gratitude in the card.
The kind-hearted donor's love not only gave Lee the strength to go on, but also brought hope to this family of a future together. Although over 2,400 lives were lost on September 21, 1999, in one of the nation's most catastrophic earthquakes, it also demonstrated the willingness of Taiwan citizens to help one another in times of crisis. Now, 14 years on, we take a look at how some mountain forests, which were left barren and desolate after the tremor, have been restored back to life.
Whenever landslides or other situations occurred, we obtain coordinates using GPS, and once there, we capture images.
Traveling 60 kilometers crossing mountains each day comes easy for Shen Bo-neng. Having spent half of his life in the woods, the devastation brought by the 91 earthquake 14 years ago still lives fresh in his memories.
In an instant, all the trees on the trails disappeared. The area affected by the landslide was big. Where the land is unleveled, landslides continue to occur whenever there are heavy winds or rain. Complete restoration won't happen so soon.
前面有根倒木哦。
好，我先呼叫一下。乌米呼叫，我现在跟沈大哥哈，已经到林道这边有发现一个倒木哦。
Wu Ming, an indigenous tribe member, was born and grew up in Nanto's Ren'ai Township. Here, he oversees 1,200 hectares of forest.
每天接触到我们。
The area we patrol is close to our tribal village. First, we can prevent it from excessive cultivation. And if there is illegal logging, indirectly, I can also protect my tribe from harm.
Wu Ming says man and nature, in fact, share a symbiotic bond.
I can relate to what our ancestors said, that we should hold nature in awe and reverence.
Many forest compartments are unreachable, which shows just how big these mountains are and how vast these forests stretch.
Frequent earthquakes have disrupted the balance of the entire underground stratum, and irregular weather patterns in recent years have resulted in heavy rains and typhoons bringing massive rainfall, which could easily result in a landslide in mountainous areas.
Instability in the geological structure and climate change have resulted in the frequent occurrence of natural disasters.
Looking at it now, although the Earth's surface is covered with grass, however, if we look closer, you see there are rocks here. They was obviously washed down during a landslide. This is Huanghu Road by Sun Moon Lake. Each time a typhoon and storm passes through, massive landslides will occur in this mountain region. Hence, nature's resistance cannot be ignored.
整个崩塌地。
After a landslide occurs, some slopes will be steeper. We employ a stacking and watering method and use seedlings which have a faster sprout rate, such as Lagostomia subcostata. We drive a pole into the soil and it will sprout and grow into Lagostromia subcostata.
Using a natural method to rehabilitate the mountains, the 8.4-kilometer point on the provincial Highway 21 that was destroyed by earthquakes and typhoons has now turned into a Garden of Eden.
我们现在看到的这个木质的一个护岸。
The porosity of wooden fencing is larger, so it's easier for vegetation to grow, allowing for our forests to restore their ecological balance.
It may be decades or centuries before natural habitats may be restored again. After the 9/21 earthquake devastated Mount Jojo, the government declared it a nature reserve, so to preserve and protect the mountain area.
In the more remote mountain areas where there is less traffic and no direct impact on life and property, natural restoration is the best option.
For billions of years, nature and animal life have been the real inhabitants of our Earth. As natural disasters become ever more frequent, humans ought to discontinue their disruption of the natural balance.
Staying on the topic of the 9/21 earthquake, next we meet the rescue team from the International Headquarters Search and Rescue Operations Taiwan, who at the time tirelessly carried out rescue work to save lives and have since upgraded their rescue equipment as well as improved their training of their crew. Now this NGO is also involved in international disaster relief work. Let's take a look.
On the night of the 9/21 earthquake, we realized how small we were compared to nature. Thousands of families were torn apart by the tremor. However, love from fellow compatriots rose up in the wake of the disaster.
When we drove our vehicles to the gas station to refuel, numerous residents offered their aid supplies and asked us to deliver them to the disaster areas. From this, you can see how kind and generous our fellow people were.
Then, International Headquarters SAR Taiwan Squad Chief Wang Guoqiang soon after arrived at the disaster area to lead the rescue missions. 14 years on, the shocking scenes of devastation are still vivid in his mind.
After we rushed to the scene of the quake, we realized that we could only use our hands to remove the rubble because there were still aftershocks.
The massive deconstruction and tug-of-war with death not only overwhelmed the rescuers on site, but also distressed the general public who were following up the latest news in front of their TVs.
There were countless rescuers searching for the survivors who were desperately waiting for our help. Time was running out.
Yan Yanqing, an engineer by trade, also did what he could to help. Seeing how those frontline rescuers were resolute in saving lives, Yan was moved and vowed to join their ranks.
The rescuers used PET bottles filled with water. If they saw the water inside ripple or heard any noise, it meant an aftershock was imminent, and then they would blow a whistle to warn their colleagues inside the buildings to get out as quickly as possible. Seeing how they risked their lives saving people, I was so touched. After I joined in the rescue missions during the 9/21 quake, I was able to deeply sense the warmth and love of the Taiwanese. As a public servant myself, I finally found something I could do to benefit members of the public.
14年，很快。
Time flies, you know. Each anniversary of the 9/21 earthquake is an emotional moment for us. The scenes of devastation are still rooted in my mind, but at the same time, it encouraged us to keep working hard in the face of future disasters. The 9/21 earthquake has made me even more resolute in my work. I will devote myself wholeheartedly to future rescue missions.
With a heart to give, these heroes in red also took part in a series of international disaster relief missions, including the 3/11 trio of disasters in Japan, the South Asian tsunami, and the 2001 El Salvador earthquakes, lending helping hands on behalf of the Taiwanese to people around the world.
With 13% of the population in the Dominican Republic illiterate, problems such as child labor, low school enrollment rates, or drug abuse have emerged over the years. To help, Tzu Chi established a school on Garbage Mountain in La Romana province 14 years ago, giving youngsters in the area an option to receive education. Today, the children of the Garbage Mountain have dreams of finally escaping poverty.
Y para el futuro quiero ser ingeniera civil.
Quiero ser doctora cirujana. Quisiera ser doctora.
Profesión quiero ser psicóloga.
Quiero ser actriz.
Pero quiero ser administradora de empresa.
This is the annual graduation ceremony at the Tzu Chi School in La Romana province in the Dominican Republic, where participants dress to the nines. A sign language song expresses the gratitude current students have towards Tzu Chi, while graduates make speeches of fond farewell.
Thank you, Tzu Chi Foundation, for your unconditional love. All I can say is thank you. This is the best school I have studied at. I now know how fortunate I am, as this school has given me so much love.
As soon as the graduation ceremony is over, Felicia takes off her borrowed robes and returns to her reality. When the young girl's parents separated, the burden of raising all 8 children fell on Felicia's mother. This type of single-parent family is common in these parts. If the community didn't have La Romana Tzu Chi School, then Felicia would have likely dropped out to make ends meet for the family.
El amor que me da más fuerte me hará, porque somos.
Felicia proudly sings the Spanish version of the Tzu Chi song We Are Family, and the trophies in her house displays the young girl's accomplishments. Felicia's mother has high hopes for her daughter.
Thanks to Tzu Chi, Felicia has been able to reach the 8th grade. I believe she can keep climbing and have a better life.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Cómo pasaron el fin?
Now the children from this community in La Romana province can attend the 12 years of compulsory education. Teachers mentioned if the school was not here, these children might be lost on the street, doing drugs, or involved in a gang.
When Tzu Chi came here, we were all orphans. If it wasn't for Tzu Chi's good deeds, we would not be where we are today.
The community's enrollment rate has increased from 10% 14 years ago to now 90%, and everyone is looking to Felicia's generation to turn the tide.
I hope the graduates of this year can use their skills to contribute to society in the future.
We go to the United States at the end of the show. The Tzu Chi Northern California chapter recently held a media volunteer basic training seminar, which saw 28 members signing up to take part. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.